For decades, hitting a six-figure salary represented the ultimate cultural finish line, the moment a professional finally transitioned from surviving to building real wealth. But today, that marker of affluence is being redefined. For millions of working Americans, earning $100,000 a year is now the baseline for basic middle-class stability. Recent PYM&TS data reveals nearly half of Americans earning over $100,000 live paycheck to paycheck. Even among those earning over $200,000 annually, 36% report having zero monthly savings. This raises a difficult question. Is this a failure of personal discipline and frivolous spending, or has the underlying economic math of the middle class simply broken? The evidence suggests that high earners are fighting a brutal two-front war, one against a systemic economy that quietly devours their raises, and another against the powerful psychological traps of their own success. The first front is structural inflation. These are systemic, non-negotiable costs that rise independently of how much an individual chooses to spend. Location drastically dictates a salary's value. In Memphis, a $100,000 income retains $86,000 in purchasing power. But in New York or San Francisco, that same salary compresses under taxes and housing costs, leaving the earner with just $36,000. Beyond taxes and housing, research by economist Elizabeth Warren identifies a quiet shift in the cost of rearing children that targets high-earning families. As the quality of public school systems has become more uneven, middle-class parents have entered an aggressive bidding war for homes in the few remaining high-performing school districts. When you add skyrocketing monthly childcare costs to these inflated property values, what was once a shared public good has effectively become a massive, privatized fixed cost for parents. A six-figure salary is frequently accounted for before a single discretionary dollar is spent, consumed by the baseline price of entry for a safe neighborhood and reliable schools. While local costs eat the paycheck from one side, the federal tax and subsidy system often squeezes it from the other. Consider two hypothetical households, one earning $90,000 and another bringing in $150,000. This is the benefit cliff. The family earning $150,000 suddenly loses vital childcare and healthcare subsidies that the $90,000 family still receives. Combined with higher tax brackets, the marginal effective tax rate on their extra income exceeds 50%. For families in this middle income range, increasing a gross salary often creates a scenario where the margin for error actually shrinks as tax liabilities rise and social safety nets vanish. The systemic math is only half the battle. The second front of this war is behavioral inflation, the psychological mechanisms that drive our spending. We are prone to hedonic adaptation. As income rises, we quickly normalize new levels of comfort until they become absolute necessities rather than luxuries. Inflation reveals this psychological trap. Data shows that lower income earners adapt to rising prices by compromising on quality and switching to cheaper brands. However, earners making over $100,000 are far less likely to lower their standard of living. Instead of compromising on product quality, they often choose to absorb the financial damage through debt to maintain their lifestyle. By treating these discretionary upgrades as permanent fixed costs, high earners lock themselves into a lifestyle that consumes every new dollar they earn. A $100,000 salary now represents the entry point for financial stability in many parts of the country. This income tier increasingly covers the basics: adequate housing, healthcare, and education, leaving a surprisingly small margin for long-term wealth building. You cannot simply out-earn this structural reality, as rent renewals, school premiums, and insurance costs often adjust upward to consume your next raise. While you cannot control structural inflation, you can neutralize behavioral inflation by automating your financial logic. This is the mechanism of a step-up SIP, or systematic investment plan. The day your revised salary is credited, a fixed percentage of that raise is automatically routed into an investment account before it ever reaches your spending balance. Because willpower fatigue is a proven psychological reality, removing the money from sight is the only surefire way to prevent lifestyle creep and finally break the six-figure trap.